Bam, we're live. See if the audio is working. I see you. I don't hear you. Good morning, everybody. Can everyone hear us? Travis, I don't hear you.
You can't hear? Am I not saying anything?
Oh, now I can hear you. There we go. How's that?
Hey.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Is that your dining room at your house?
It is.
Is that your sister? Did your sister-in-law take that picture?
I think maybe that might have been a little flea market little item about 27 years ago.
Holy shit. So that thing goes from house to house wherever you go.
It's been everywhere, baby. Along with every other piece of furniture that we've ever owned.
Really? Same furniture you've had your whole marriage?
Forever.
Hey, do you have any furniture in there from when you were a kid?
No.
Wait, you have a dog? You have a dog?
I told you how I grew up. We didn't really have furniture, bro.
Right. Good point. Hey, let me see. You have a dog?
Yeah, I do.
I can't. You're not a dog guy.
Come on, I know. You're going to find out right now how bad I am. Come here. Can you come over here?
That's crazy. I would have never, ever, ever, ever thought you were a dog guy.
Yeah. A lot of things change over the years. If you travel a lot, you could come home and there could be anything in your house. Anything. And listen, as soon as you try to say something about it, they just look at you like, dude, where were you this weekend? Shut the hell up. And I'm like, good point.
I only have you for a little while. The two main topics are clearly what the hell is Tyson doing and what's going on over in Dubai.
Big weekend for me. Two of my most favorite people and the heroes of my life are actually in huge competition this weekend.
Ezra has another game too?
No, John Brzenk and Tyson Bagent.
Gotcha.
Ezra's already raped and pillaged the entire community of West Virginia high school football. They are undoubtedly the champ of the world's 62-20 easy victory for your Martinsburg Bulldogs. Congratulations to Brett Sherman and the rest of the Martinsburg Bulldogs. That's coach's first state championship. The former coach won the other ones and moved on to college. So the new coach kept everything intact.
So your 17-year-old son, 17?
Correct.
And he's a junior?
He's a junior. Yeah.
He threw 5. Hey, Casey.
Bam!
He threw
Yeah, now you know why I'm so happy.
He threw 5 touchdown passes on Sunday.
Huge day. So Ezra is in a dual quarterback role at Martinsburg, but with the new coach, he kind of throws it when Ezra's in the game and runs it when the other quarterback's in the game. So the other quarterback kind of takes the rushing attempts away from Ezra usually handing it off.
Someone's asking in the comments what your Instagram is. You know, I think
it's T_Bagent.
T_Bagent.
It's got a picture of a kid playing football, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh shit, I did it. Is that close? Do you see it? Is that written right?
That's it. I mean, I've never seen it in caps because I'm so hood, but yeah, I love it.
Hey, this guy, good luck. This guy, I don't know what to say about his Instagram. Travis does the greatest self-promoter who ever lived that has no idea how to promote himself with the modern day tools. So
I am the promoter of other people's YouTube and Instagrams. I'm very valuable content.
So what do you mean he's in a dual quarterback role?
So just the situation. So Ezra's playing as a junior in high school at quarterback, and he's at the same school his brother played at, so we have comparable seasons, right? Your junior season against your brother's junior season. When Tyson was there, he didn't have anybody to split with. He was the quarterback the whole time. The problem was he had to hand the ball off to a running back 50% of the time, right? So at the end of the year, Tyson threw I have the stats up here. Tyson threw 276 times being the quarterback the whole time. Ezra only playing half the time, but every time he's in the game, he's throwing the ball. And the other quarterback, so no one's handing the ball off. The running back is the other quarterback. and he catches it from the quarterback position and he runs the ball. So Ezra threw the ball 257 times, so really close to each other. Ezra had 170 completions and Ezra had 165, or Tyson had 165. Ezra had 2,600 yards and Tyson had 2,400 yards. So the reality is that Ezra's better than Tyson. It's just we put Tyson on such a level that he made, like Michael Jordan, never, ever be another Tyson Bagent at Martinsburg, even though if you really look hard at the numbers, I mean, I think Ezra may be the guy. So we'll find out next year.
So here's what doesn't make sense to me. Two things. Why would you do that? So that means that every time Ezra is in the game, the other team knows you're going to throw. Doesn't that kind of blow your wad? Second of all, this other guy, he's in every play because he's the running back and the quarterback. Where does
he leaves the game, and there actually is a running back sitting beside Ezra. The other on the sideline. They split series, right? You do a series, I do a series, back and forth. And
why don't you threaten the coach? Why are you allowing that to happen? Move your kid to a different high school.
I'm going to tell you why right now, because I'm a coach. All right. They're the two best players on the team, right? Because they can do something so dramatic. And the other kid, as much as I absolutely hate to say it, it might be the best football player I've ever seen.
Wow.
I know. That's terrible. So imagine the stress that Ezra's dealing with, right? He's got this legend over here that already went through the system and crushed it all. And is the man, the history of the man is him, his older brother. Now he's up there, and when it's his turn, there's this other freakazoid right there. So the last 3 games of the year, that kid broke his foot.
Oh, awesome. I mean,
so I know it sucks bad for everyone except Ezra,
right?
Who got to play the whole time for the playoffs, and really I think grew up and got all those reps and all that pressure and stuff. So even though next year I predict you can't keep the other kid off the field. You pray the other kid wants to play another position maybe, but the truth is he's a stud, so they're going to coexist. And then Ezra's going to, and if he just keeps the numbers like he just did, I don't think anyone would ever know that he even, had to split the roles.
Is the other kid a senior?
No, the other kid's a sophomore a year.
Oh, fuck. Oh, what a mess. What a fucking mess. This sucks.
Dude, and the dude's a stud. A stud.
What's the kid's parents like? Is the kid's dad like you? Is the kid's dad like you? Like he's just training his kid? His kid's a sled dog?
No. I mean, yes and no. His dad's like the coolest guy in the world, right? The dude's sitting over in the corner. Doesn't really look too much like an athlete now unless you keep looking at him, right? But all of a sudden, you go to a dinner party, you go to a little party, a Christmas party, there's 45 people. There's 20 people you really don't even know.
Right.
Right? And then all of a sudden, as everyone's hanging out, you realize Mike's in the corner. His name is Mike Clement. And before long, he's maybe ran outside, smoked a joint with one dude he just met. Then he comes back in, someone hands him the guitar, and he's over there playing, this music. And everybody in the place is like, yo, who is this dude? Coolest guy in the place. Then
he's a Renaissance man.
You think he's a redneck, but he's a Democrat, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's one of them dudes that, he's a well-versed human being. And then you find out, he's a school teacher. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, come on, bro. I had no idea. And here's the crazy part. The family moved from the smallest little redneck hood town in the history of West Virginia, Berkeley Springs. Single A football, I'm serious. Like, you would have been an All-American there. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody is there, right? And he moved to Martinsburg to play football with this juggernaut of a team, 4 years ago. If he would have played in Berkeley Springs, I don't even know. It would have been like, Pete Meredith playing, back in the day where he's just dominating. So it's a good story. But Martinsburg football, they gravitate. All the best athletes, they don't move here to play football. They move their entire families here before the kid gets to high school. They change their life in order to be in the district. so that you can play football at Martinsburg High School.
Okay, so something's going on. The fact that the dad knows that he has an athlete, the dad is pursuing it to some level. I mean, because God knows that
Let me tell you, the biggest recruiting thing in the history of the world is winning. If you like, you know what I mean? Like you didn't, CrossFit didn't recruit you. You recruited them, right? So that's just the way it is at Martinsburg football. What's the coach supposed to do when the kid's dad calls him and the kid's in the 6th grade and he says, "Hey, sir, my name is something, something. I just moved to town. My kids are in the 6th and 7th grade. We'll see you in a year and a half or 2 years." People accuse that coach of recruiting that kid. The coach just answered the phone and took the information. Now, if you're telling me the kid's leaving from his junior year to his senior year, 10 miles down the road, not leaving his house and pulling some fake, I moved in the apartment with my aunt. Yeah, no one's going to let that happen anyway. Because of how many Karens we have in this world, right? There would be a petition outside. So there is a tremendous amount of recruiting happening, and it's happening every year at the state championship when they're winning 62-20, and everyone's recruiting them. So it is. But here's the great thing too, is we played 6 out-of-state teams this year, and we beat every one of them, and they're all in their state championships. So if you want to say West Virginia football's not where it's at, we got some evidence that says that we're the shit over here in the Eastern Panhandle.
Oh, I called you yesterday and you were in the middle of coaching, and what is today? Today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What is today? Tuesday.
So we started
back. So why is Ezra training on Monday when he just finished his championship game on Saturday? I called you yesterday and you FaceTime, and he's getting the shit kicked out of him in some CrossFit workout.
He wants to be better than his brother, so he got a little taste of popularity and what it feels like up there. So I think he's like super dedicated. Plus, that's what we do in this house. We don't require much from you, right? As parents, right? You got to go to school like 85% of the time, right? You have to get straight A's. And the reason is because it's like retardville over here. All you got to do is show up and listen, and you get an A, right? Okay. We're not in Beverly Hills where you actually got to take your book bag and read books and shit, right? Okay. Very basic over here, right? So you get a 4.0, you go to school 85% of the time, you watch your mouth when your father's around, all right? Meaning, don't say nothing crazy to your mom. Don't be mean to each other. When I ain't around, I don't know, Casey's got to work that out, right? Brothers and sisters got to work it out. But always know, if you stay with me as a brother or sister, you ain't going to get picked on all day. So right. It's up to you, right? And you have full access to us. But the one thing that does kind of suck about being in this house is, whether you like it or not, the CrossFit class is happening twice a day. And you will be in one of them, either at 11 a.m. or at 6 p.m. every single day.
And where was that class?
On Saturday and Sunday, there's just a one class. 11 o'clock on Saturdays, 12:30 on Sundays. So
and where was that?
Say it again.
Where was that? Yesterday when I was
in our gym.
Where was that? Where?
It's in our gym.
That's attached to your house?
No. It's about 2 miles down the road. It's a group fitness room that I share with a young lady that does a couple group fitness classes and a bunch of personal training. But it's really nice. It's like the Four Seasons of CrossFit gyms, like beautiful. The only problem, it's got a bunch of mirrors, but unlike hardcore CrossFitters, I'm so down with the mirror because I'm so tired of talking to the guy. I'm like, my man, look at your fucking self. Do you think that you would be comfortable counting reps for you right now? Or do you think we should go back to the basics? And then if they can see it, I feel like it helps them a little bit. So, or at least it helps me justify to everybody in the room that is terrible.
I have no problem with mirrors. Zero.
Yeah, I got you. So, but we have, it's like literally, it's like you're at the Four Seasons. 2 beautiful bathrooms, showers. The place is just immaculate. The lady's marathon runner, no kids, 3 dogs. I mean, she could have been your neighbor, in Berkeley.
Yesterday at the pool, speaking of mirrors, we're over at Greg's house in Arizona, and over at the pool, I saw him like flexing his bicep and showing his older daughter, his 8-year-old daughter, his muscle, and be like, "Go ahead, feel it, feel it." And then she feels it, and then he's like, "Yeah, feel my calves," and he's like flexing his calves. I'm like, "Good dude, a good dude." And she was impressed. She got all,
Do you remember the time Greg and I got back to back in our wingspan?
yes,
Exactly the same.
I have that photo somewhere.
Wow.
I have that photo. Listen to this. Look at this. Look at this weirdo. What he just wrote. I think I had Devon and Travis confused.
Hey, it happens. It happens.
Oh,
Hey,
I have no.
in 10 years ago, I would have been disgusted by that comment. Nowadays, I'm down, baby. Hey, I'm down. Whatever.
What? So enough with this young man named Ezra. He's just a little boy. Let's talk about the big dude. Tyson. So when I went and visited you as a little kid, you were already crooning them to be athletes. Like every time I was at your house, there was something going on. They were shooting hoops in the front yard. You were training them in the basement in the winter, making them run routes in the basement. It was just football, 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 or some sort of athletic, something that required some significant amount of coordination or work. And then over the years, you would send Greg and I like news clips. Oh, my son threw a touchdown. My son did this. My son did that. And then all of a sudden, a few months ago, you're like, hey, there's this award, and it's called the Harlan Trophy Award, and it looks like my son's going to win it. So I Google up Harlan Trophy Award, and I'm like, holy shit, that's the fucking Heisman for Division II. Then all of a sudden, you send me a clip where he throws a touchdown pass in the last 10 seconds of a game to win the championships, the first level of the playoffs, but it's kind of like the local championships. Then I have him on the podcast, and he talks about it being like just absolutely crazy. He can't even explain it. And then just this last Saturday, with 1 second left in the game, in the regional championships, which is I think is now he's 2 games away from the national championships, he throws a touchdown pass in the last second. What has anything happened like that? I know it's nuts. Has anything happened like that? Did he make it on ESPN again 2 weeks in a row?
He did not make it the first week.
Oh, he didn't. I thought he was like number 7 or something on some ESPN list.
He may have been. I think there was a rivalry list on college football, and it was like deep, but I think it was not ESPN. It was like one of those other 17 ghetto sports channels.
Okay.
But yeah, to me, week 1 or the first one was the more amazing one. I was a little bitter while the second one was taking place because I felt that the game should have already been over because of some prior plays in the 2-minute situation. But getting back to what you're saying, we live about 15 minutes from Shepherdstown, West Virginia. So our entire life, after I left Shepherd, I worked there for about 8 years while Tyson was growing up. So we as a family know everything about Shepherd athletics. And in D2 football, you have a 10 or 11 game season, depending on, if you can get that 11th game. And then there's a 5-game playoff series. So that thing that when Tyson threw that first touchdown, it was the second round of the playoffs. Then he comes to the third round, which was also the regional championships, and gets you into the semifinals. So all that stuff is absolutely correct. The crazy thing about it is everything that's Tyson's doing is what we have talked about, for 15 years of his life, right? So my strategy for him was that, listen, you're going to play for me until you're in the 8th grade. Then you'll play 1 year of middle school football at Wildwood. Then we'll move to Martinsburg. You'll play 4 years there. Then you'll go to Shepherd. You'll win the national championship, win the Harlan Hill Award as a junior, so you can come back on campus and walk around. Don't do it and then never show back up at campus so that you can't relish in it, right? I used to tell people all the time, the semifinals or the finals of any competition, you got to eat that up, right? Because that's really all you can hope for, right? The finals, you're going to face a tough dude. So you never know if you're going to win or not. But you got to stay in the moment, right? Like the Final Four, any of that time. And here's the thing, too. if you act super happy and comfortable about being in the championship, it just sends out like great vibes, back at you. And it sends out horrible messages to everyone else that you are so happy and comfortable in this so-called pressure situation. So I couldn't be happier. The fact that I looked at myself when Tyson was younger and thought about, if your kids do something that's way greater than you, that's luck, right? Because you had no part of it, right? Because if this guy does what you did and goes further, then you're a lucky guy. But what a shame if you can't have him do exactly what you did now that you've already done it and have the whole process down. So I knew that I was capable. I wasn't capable of giving Tyson a crazy amount of business knowledge, right? I'm not going to be even that good at relationships, right? Because I've been in love with my girl since the 9th grade. That's it, right? Like, I can't tell you how to go in and out of a committed relationship and find a new girl. And good luck with that, bro. I hope that you meet someone that you don't have to make any of those decisions, which is how I was lucky. But there is something I could show him. I could show him what it would take to excel at Shepherd University, a place where I have a lot of contacts, understand the level of competition, and that I think with my DNA can get you to that place. So that's all that I've tried to do for those two dudes. And both of them are, it looks like, going to have that opportunity. We already know Tyson took advantage of that opportunity. People could say, oh, Travis, he should have went further. Yes, I'm totally okay with him going all the way to the top. But if I don't have an elevator to go up there, he needs to find his own method, his own way. And I hope he does. But the only thing that I say, my man, I can drop you off at Shepherd University as the starting quarterback, and everything is free and paid for. And you got a big refund check coming because you decided to get 4.0 at Martinsburg High School, and you can combine your academic money and your athletic money when you play Division II athletics.
Does Tyson go there for free? He's got a scholarship there?
Tyson goes there for free and gets a $10,000 refund check every semester.
Wow.
And he lives on campus. He eats on campus. It's he's got an extraordinary situation at Shepherd University, and it was all given to him by me. That's it. I'm just telling you.
That part's not true. Guys, we're 23 minutes of just fucking pure facts, and then we slid off the path for a second. Sevan's mentor and parenting, expect great things from a short athletic Armenian. Yeah. So, Colin, you kind of don't realize how true that is. I never planned on having kids, but I will tell you what stood out to me when I would visit Travis. All the other people I ever know who had kids, there was the parenting version of them, and then there was the version I knew. And when I saw the way Travis parented, there's just Travis. And I was like, oh shit, that's the way I want to parent. Like, even if it's some fucking unorthodox shit and they're going to hear some shit and see some shit that maybe other kids aren't seeing, I just want to be myself the whole entire time. I don't want there to be, and I just want to be honest with them. So like what Travis said, like he sets the bar really high, but the expectations are realistic. What do I mean by that? He says, when I'm at home, you better fucking watch yourself. When I'm away, do what you want. And that's kind of how I am. And yeah, you got to go to school 85% of the time. I mean, my kids will never go to school, but that type of thinking. And one other thing I want to throw in there.
85% too, Sevan, is for me.
What do you mean?
I don't want them fucking kids around me.
Oh, right.
During the day.
Right.
I want to hang out with Casey.
Right.
That's who I want to hang out with. Right. I do not want to hang out with them kids. Yeah. The toughest moment of my life is when all of my kids were in school.
Yeah.
And Casey said she was pregnant.
Why is that?
Because I knew there was going to be a freaking 6-year span here where I will not have that.
Oh.
9 hours, 8 hours in the morning, all the way until the afternoon. So it was, but yeah, that's why they have to go 85%.
We're not going to get into the details of this. We don't have time, but there was this thing that Travis said about not sure how you worded it, but before the championship game, be walking around happy, be walking around with confidence, be walking around. And that sends a certain message to everyone else around you, the rest of the team, the other teams. There was a situation that
I think a good adjective would be that's contagious as well.
Yes.
Just working out, happiness and confidence. Right. Come on, bro. And also too, even if you don't feel that way, if you would at least accept that it is contagious, you would definitely fake it in front of the people you love.
Right.
So that they would get it. Right.
One of the most dangerous cities in the world is a city called Nairobi. It's in Kenya, and it's in the center of Kenya. And when I mean dangerous, I don't mean like anything. I don't mean like Chicago dangerous. I mean like really dangerous. And there's a
really, really extraordinarily dangerous.
Yeah, and
it's so dangerous, so fucking dangerous, Sevan.
Yes.
That I lost a lot of credibility with some members of my crew there just from telling a story that is so fucking dangerous that they thought I was lying.
So I want to tell you just one bit, and I'll have Travis back on another day so we can tell you the details of it. And I have tons of pictures from the incident. But there's a road that travels from Nairobi to Mombasa. Mombasa is on the eastern seaboard. It's the big city on the coast of Kenya that the Indian Ocean sits on. And there's a fucking super highway. When I mean super highway, there's nothing super about it, but there's a highway that connects this city of Nairobi to Mombasa. And it's a gnarly, gnarly road with a lot of gnarly fucking shit on it. Everything from elephants to tribal people to anyway. Travis and I somehow ended up alone on this highway and had to figure out how to get back to Mombasa. And yeah. And anyway, he said the whole time, he basically told me then the whole thing, just be cool. Just be cool. And I'm getting the chills even talking about it, but somehow we made it back to Mombasa. We rode in the back of some random pickup truck. But one thing is for sure, I don't care if I have Alzheimer's, if my brain rots to one piece of mold, I will never forget that day.
One of the funniest things that happened that day that you probably don't know, Sevan, is as soon as it happened, right, the fear on Miss Martin's face was just astronomical, right? And
everyone else was terrified.
Radiator blew up in the car. We went from 2 Land Cruisers to 1 Land Cruiser. There were 3 people that were shit out of luck. Of course, I knew that I was in trouble. There was one chance for me to be rescued, and that was for Greg to say, no, Travis has to stay with me. But Greg was like, hey, listen, Greg knew Travis can't help me if something goes down here. So I got to get back to the White Sands immediately, right? So immediately I hop out, let the people get in. And if you remember the young lady who was our guide, she stayed because she was driving the car behind the car that had messed up. So
that's the car I was in. That's the car I was in.
Messed up. That driver took her seat and she got out, and then there was no room, and you stepped up. You really did step up. I don't know if you thought, I don't know. I think that was some big, I did not expect for you. I thought Jeff Martin would be the guy who would jump out, but he was not leaving. He was not leaving.
Two things. I didn't step up. I just never thought that anyone would leave us in that situation for hours with no plan to get out. And then second of all, you're right. Everyone in my car was terrified, like the scaredest I've ever, like we were going to the gallows, and then they just drove off and left us there. I'm like, how could you be so scared and then leave us here?
Drove off so quickly, right? And the good thing is that I had about this much of their money, right? Every day, Greg said, Travis, take this Wells Fargo card, get the $800 we're allowed to get out every day in case there is a problem. And I'm like, okay, I got you. So we started that trip. I don't know if you remember, we started in Finland. And we were over there in
Denmark. We were in Denmark.
Sorry, in Denmark. We were all over there first. Then we went. It was a 27-day extravaganza. So between the money from Finland and we're taking out that mandatory $800 every day, right? So I've got a ton of, I can't remember what their money was, but it was, it didn't take much of our money to make a lot of their money.
And do you remember I had two $10,000 cameras hanging from my neck? Like I was like a target to be robbed.
100%. And I'm looking at you like, oh my God, what is the process when he gets attacked? Like,
when.
Two fucking zebras there, and there's like 8 fucking lions. And man, ain't nothing I can do. So I take that money and immediately, right, I take a big hunk of it, put it in my sock, and take about 4 bills. And I put 1 bill in each pocket, right? Because I know that I'm going to have to bargain. And I know I got to be careful when I reach.
Like for my life? Like be like, hey, give me the little Armenian back.
No, I just ride, motherfucker. So I take 1 of these or 3 of these. It doesn't matter. I got a lot of them. But I'm not going to show you 65 of them first. Because then you might take it and then I'm in trouble. So that was I wish that we had more time to, man, dude, I am a storytelling motherfucker. I would love to I can give you 7 hours of the most unfucking believable stuff that has happened when I've been away. And that ranks up high.
What happened? Just
in the ride.
What?
$100. We got to ride in the back of the little red truck for an hour and a half.
Yeah. What? And the lady just vanished, right? Like we were I don't remember her being around. All of a sudden, it was just us.
She got us back to the White Sands. They opened that gate. She jumped out. And then the guy, he wouldn't let the guy go further than the little gate. But you remember, what I remember is that we walked in on dinner time and how embarrassed.
I was so pissed. And you were telling me, don't be pissed. Act cool. Act cool. I was fuming.
Yeah, well, for me, it was a great situation, right? Like, first of all, I knew I was going to be all right for some reason, right? Like, I was like, listen, I mean, I'm going to be overwhelmingly confident through this whole process. And like, motherfucker, I'll pull out some fake ass thing, talk about I got diplomatic immunity. I got the whole fucking sales pitch down for, not getting killed over there or this whole fucking country's going down. You see those fucking cameras, you think they're going to leave this guy out here with just anybody, motherfucker? The whole process. So I knew I was going to get home, and I knew that the only way that I could make them never want to be around me is to act like a bitch for doing my job. And not really my job, for just not being a sissy. I mean, I don't know. Even if I had sissy tendencies, I will hide them from anybody I don't know.
Right. Smart. What? So on December 11th, why aren't you arm wrestling anymore? Is your arm hurt?
I am not arm wrestling because I do not have the capacity to train.
Like between all the motivation and the time.
Yeah. No, I think I have plenty of time.
Motivation.
I have plenty of time. I got 20 hours a day. But
so motivation.
I have all the equipment, I have all the necessary stuff. And if I add it all up, it ain't that easy to go rock it.
Okay. So it's just do you still like arm wrestling?
Yes. And I still, I run 35 tournaments a year. I just take off 3 months during football season.
Okay. And just like you put on that big match that I watched and that I spoke to Paul Lynn and John Brzenk last month. That was a tournament you put on.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. And so can you give me everyone kind of like the 5-minute synopsis of what's happened in the sport with John Brzenk in the last, 6 months and what's going on build up to December 11th?
Yeah. So first of all, John Brzenk for the last, I'd say at least 5 years, maybe 10 years, every single person has looked at him and said, man, dude, you're everyone's hero. You should be more visible on social media. Right? I mean, have you said that to him?
Yep, I have said that.
Yeah, everyone. If I had $1 for every person that said that to me, I wouldn't have to do anything. I'd be good. And I try to tell him, I'm like, yo, do I look like the kind of geek that's going to set up a studio and film myself and shit? No, I'm not. I wish that I was that guy, but I'm not, right? I'm not. And I'm going to also be agitated even if someone else wants to do it too much, right?
Right.
Join partnerships with guys like you. And then it's just like I feel, not only when I feel like I don't want to do it, then it becomes like I really don't want to do it.
Right.
Because like, why would I if it's not my thing? And I feel like it's so quick to start faking and try to act of some way on a podcast and stuff. And it's almost impossible. It's almost like trying to parent that way, like you said, not being yourself. How scary would it be? So for me, John Brzenk, when everyone thought that he was not doing what he should have been doing social media wise, just like always, he's smarter than everyone else. And he waits to the best time to dip in. And I mean, this is just my opinion, but I think that John Brzenk is now a $5,000 a month social media guy, which is enormous to a human being that is not a YouTube guy. Like every YouTube guy that I know fought his life to get $5,000. Right. John, boom, picks the right timing. And then he doesn't, usually John is pushing through all the barriers, right? So that he can, so that the rest of us can get something good, right? So whenever someone starts something, they go get John Brzenk first. He's the test dummy, gets a couple dollars, creates something that either makes it or doesn't. But John, with Dubai, this big thing is taking place. John waited back, let Michael Todd and Devon be the guinea pigs. Let's check out if the core sports is legitimately grossing $200,000 by doing an arm wrestling pay-per-view. Right. Now, those are the numbers that I heard. I mean, do you know anything?
I have no idea. I have no idea
either. All I know is at 2,000 or at a $200,000 revenue, and supposedly Michael Todd and Devon walking out with 20s and 50,000s of dollars. John has just jumped right in 6 months, in my opinion, has his channel on the way to that $5,000 revenue a month, is the hottest thing again in the history of the world when it comes to arm wrestling because of his fan favor across the seas, right?
Let me say one thing there to validate what you're saying. On Instagram, John has 25,000 followers and I have 100,000 followers. When John makes a post, he gets 500 comments. When I make a post, I get 2 comments. I mean, people want to fucking engage with this guy.
Yes. And a reason I think is because of how much content that they have that he's been unavailable. Comment, right? So, and you think,
and he's cool. He's really cool in a real dorky way. He's so cool.
Man, listen, to me, the guy is a complete alien, right? He can 100 shift shaper, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Is whatever he needs to be.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, he's beautiful. Like the motherfucker looks like I don't even know what happened now. I'm looking at him.
Yeah.
Boom. The man's back.
Yeah.
You get rid of them gray little sideburn things he's got rocking, and if he could get his hair cut from anybody else besides Renee, this dude looks like he's 32.
Hey, I'm going to see if I can pull it up here real quick. What you're talking about is John Brzenk Instagram. I know exactly what you're talking about because you look at human beings exactly the same way I do. Let me see if I can show it.
What time is it right now? I have a business call at 10 a.m. And how late am I going
to we have 21 minutes.
Oh.
You are talking about this. You are talking about share screen. Give me 1 second, Travis. I'll make this happen fast. Oh shit. What the fuck is going on? Damn it. It's not going to let me do it for some reason. Share. Chrome tabs. John Brzenk. Share. Can you see that?
Yes.
You're talking about how the guy doesn't lift weights and all of a sudden his body looks like this.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. I think that's a myth.
That's what you mean. Like he's just a 57-year-old man and he's still just beautiful.
Fucking listen. And as someone who has been around him in some pretty compromised situations, like shirt off, fucking wrestling, got this motherfucker in the headlock, and just to have him reach his hand up and fucking fish hook me and almost rip my face off. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, well, get off me. You know, like I have experienced things with that man that, you know, he's fucking different. Like the dude's different in every facet of life. He's smarter than everyone too.
Right.
In such a patient way. And he's so good at acting so oblivious and having you explain everything in detail. And then it's all that information because you were
remember when you wrestled him on the bed at my mom's house? Do you remember when and I was scared shitless you guys were going to fucking destroy my mom's house?
That was awesome because we got so silly trying to talk after each other. It was so bad.
You guys scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, well, he's so aggressive. He's so aggressive. That's the thing about him. Like his you can't even say retard strength.
You can. My show, you can say whatever you want. Uh-oh, you muted yourself. Wait, I lost your audio, Travis.
All right, I'm sorry. It should be popping up any second now.
Good.
All right. But yeah, his retard strength when he panics is pretty drastic.
Does he have any chance against Devon?
Oh, absolutely, bro. Like, absolutely. Not only does he has a chance, he's an overwhelming favorite, in my opinion.
Really?
I mean, yeah, dude. John has never lost when he cared and he dictated the arrangements, right? He loses when his brand is worth $5,000 or $10,000, even though he's not in shape. And that's just the reality. I mean, the dude's gonna win. And you're gonna see, and then not after he wins, you're gonna run, if you really trace back and you ignore the social media, if you ignore the Instagram followers, you ignore the YouTube followers, you ignore the celebrity of Devon Larratt, and you really just get to the athlete, right? Just the athlete. You'll find that it's not going to be that close, and you shouldn't have thought it was going to be. It probably could have been closer if John has sold out and I guess listened to the YouTubers. So he feels threatened, right? Which is a bad sign. It's a bad thing for Devon because you're going to see a super aggressive Hail Mary type of guy round one. And as long as he doesn't, the only way he's ever really lost is because he's so comfortable that he allows you to pull the way you want. Right? And he's like, yeah, go ahead, bro. I mean, I can come back next round. He now doesn't feel he can do that with Devon. His age, Devon's size, the world we live in, social media that has crowned Devon, the YouTuber, the best arm wrestler. When in reality, he has, I don't want to talk about his resume because there's nothing wrong with Devon's resume. The problem is that he's arm wrestling some person who his resume is ridiculous. And I know that there's no difference in him. He's the same guy right now that he was at 38. Same dude. And that's just because, he takes freaking great care of himself. He's an absolute alien. And he's going to win. And he's going to do it pretty aggressively. Now, arm wrestling has turned into this 6-round weird thing around round 4 that it's a very difficult situation, right? It's like not thinking about your technique on the 4th rep because your 3rd rep and 1st and 2nd rep were so easy, right? But you have to be careful in arm wrestling, right? Because Devon, we know, is going to eventually Kevin Bongard him. He's going to take the center of the table. He's going to have his hand on John's side of the table, and he's going to get wrist to wrist at the bottom there about 9:30, 10 o'clock. If John allows that setup to happen. John is not going to allow that to happen in the early rounds. How absolutely dominant he is could force him to allow some stuff. If he does that, anything could happen in round 4. But I'm telling you, rounds 1, 2, and 3, pop, pop, pop. Your man, and he's going to be nasty too, right? Like, John's going to raise up on this dude, boy, forehead to forehead. And listen, it's going to be intense as shit, dude. It's going to be awesome. And he's going to win. And everyone who thinks he's not going to win is just a YouTuber. They're just YouTube guys. And listen, I love YouTube guys now. I tried to fight them. Can't fight you. You guys are the winner. And I know now that I guess there are arm wrestling fans. I never thought there was an arm wrestling fan. I thought there was a guy who had a friend that arm wrestled, an uncle that arm wrestled, or a neighbor that arm wrestled. But legitimately didn't not have any of that and became an arm wrestling fan.
Let me ask you this real quick question, Travis, because we're running out of time here. What's this thing I heard about it being, they called it the streaking is 6-0. What does that mean? I heard that term. Does that mean anything to you? The streaking is 6-0. What does that mean? The streaking.
So I don't know, but I do know that there is a way to bet on the match, and you can bet on the score as well. So
okay.
You can make the best money for betting on Devon is to bet him winning 6-0.
Okay.
And I think that John has more or less bet enough money that he's going to win one match that's why he's going to be like financially. I think that John can prosper by winning that one match.
You mean John bet on himself that
he's going to win one, because that bet was also, if he bet that, he got money too. And he thinks that's, he's a gambler. So
yeah, he is a gambler.
He's such a tight gambler. He may not bet on himself to win 4-2 or 5-1.
For those of you who don't know John Brzenk, everything Travis is saying, I know it sounds like he might be exaggerating, but he's actually understating everything. We would, and I'm sure Travis has plenty of stories. We would go somewhere where there's an arm wrestling match in a casino. John would walk by and just sit down at a poker table, and 3 hours later have a few $1,000. The guy is good at fucking everything he touches, and his poker face is nuts. Like it is nuts. He's impossible to read. So have you watched any of these interviews with him and Neil Pickup where Devon's just like
not one, but I know that John has texted me a lot and called me a lot, so I think he's been aggravated a couple times.
Yeah.
And I laugh it off.
Really intense.
I don't want to feed into that because, that's what you're supposed to do.
Right. Devon's fucking with them, and what's really interesting is some of them are really long, like they're 1.5 or 2 hour calls. But usually in the beginning, Devon's like really fucking with them. And then by the end of the call, you see John starting to get in Devon's head. And it is when John starts to get aggressive and sarcastic.
Yeah. Well, it would be really terrible for people to state their resume match for match. Because here's the thing. Devon is he does not have the paperwork. He only has the physical evidence here in front of you. And it's a great physical evidence, right?
Right.
This motherfucker is a man-child.
Yeah.
And he honestly, too, is someone's going to take it from John when John is healthy and ready and focused and training. And it may be time, right? But he's going to have to show me, because I've been in the room with both of those guys, and I would compete with Devon Larratt 1,000,000 times before I would fuck with John Brzenk. And I'm talking about in life, right? Like let's take 10 or 12 categories that would make you the most well-rounded person in the world. And even though I know Devon's probably extraordinary at a lot of those things, I'll take him. You can take John, right?
What's this concern? There's a big concern I keep hearing everyone talk about the setup, about how Devon will try to drain John's energy in the setup. Is there any truth to that?
There's truth to the fact that Devon Larratt will not and has never started a match without taking everything. And if you're an arm wrestler who wants to compete against him and you're not way better than him, like I could let him left-handed take a little bit, meaning I don't mind starting without the referee's grip. left-handed. Even though you're a little bit high on my finger, it's okay because I am way better than you, right? But right-handed, John needs to make sure that the referee is involved in the engagement. There's never just him and Devon, because I'm going to tell you right now, Devon has a disease. He does not produce lactic acid. The dude will not stop for days, not 10 minutes and 15 minutes like the other guy who you think, whoever, and I'm saying you, I'm talking about our viewers.
Right.
The guy who you think has great endurance, Devon has 100 times more than him. And that's even in your world, right? So who's got the endurance?
Well, look at like Colby Covington in the UFC.
Love it. And let's go even harder, like with Rich and Matt Frazier and all that guy, right? Devon has way more endurance than all of those guys in arm wrestling.
So what you're suggesting is that in the grip, there's a fair grip, and then there's a grip where one guy has a little bit of an advantage. And Devon's going to be trying to get that advantage, even if it takes 5 minutes. And in that time, John could get tired and get frustrated. And
right, here's the deal. If you're weightlifting with someone, right, and they keep putting extra weight on the bar and you keep having to take it off before your lift, but referee there. And if you don't engage with him, the referee will take all the weight off for you.
It will. They will.
Like you're supposed to be. So it's a better grip. He forces you to respond. The response of John in the past is to let him have it, right? He's not there anymore, right? You're fucking 57 years old. The dude is now 290 pounds. He's not 220 pounds, right? This is a different person. So John's is a different person too. John's the best version of himself he's ever been. And he's going to show us that you can be the best version of yourself in arm wrestling at 57 years old. But so what John has to do is now what his response could be if he's retarded, he'll let Devon have something. If he's smarter than retarded but still dumb, then he's going to fight back and try to take something, which will then start the clock, right? Now, when I tell you that you could go to a CrossFit affiliate gathering and catch some of the best guys snatching for fun on the platform, and they might be over there for 3 hours, and there might be a psycho that stayed there the whole 8 hours. I'm telling you that Devon Larratt will stay at the arm wrestling table for 3 weeks and never leave it, and let the best guys come in a slow pull, contracted situation for days. So their clock is starting as soon as they start fighting. I have instructed John to never fight before go unless the referee is involved. So we'll see if he listens. I don't know. I know that he does get angry. And when he does, because he does possess 5 minutes that he can fight with Devon. And 5 minutes is a long time in a 6-round match, because when the clock only starts when you're rolling, right? When you stop and he stops, the referee gets involved, the aggression stops a little bit. So John just needs to keep that time limit way down, right? You exert your energy when they say go, and you make sure the referee is helping you make sure that everything's on an even playing field.
When will they know? Will they know when they grip up who's going to win? Will they know before they go?
No. Both guys, John's hand can be stronger than Devon's, and Devon still survive, right? He can run inside, take his elbow off the front of the pad. John Brzenk's not smart enough to acknowledge it, locate it, give the match away, and restart it with the match, and not let that foul become a running foul situation that starts to bleed the clock, right? Because John will be able to move him when they're dead even in a hook, right? It'll be close, but it's just John's gas tank is lowering at a slower rate than Devon's. Now, another thing is that whole King's move thing. If we see Devon underneath the table, I think Devon's best chance is to come forward. But if he can't come forward, then he's going to eventually try to get desperate underneath. I'm interested to see, but I do think that John is balanced and patient, and he has no weaknesses that it's really hard to do that King's move. I think the King's move is designed more for a guy that only has a couple shots, and once you can dodge him, then you can outlast him. I think John's too skilled to really lose. Now he could lose to maybe Michael Todd's King's move, but Devon's King's move's not quite Michael Todd's. So yeah, I think you're going to see a dominant performance from the greatest American athlete that has ever lived.
Last question. We only have 2 minutes. In the interviews, Devon's basically coming at John, on the Neil Pickup show, and basically saying like, "Hey, I'm really like concerned I'm going to hurt you. Like, you better not." Like, he's fucking with John's head like that. What?
I thought about that too, and it wasn't that he hurts John; it's that John hurts himself by pulling harder than he's ever pulled at 57 years old, right? And giving us information that he has a suspect shoulder in the past.
But Devon looks as strong as he is. He looks like he could get broken too. I mean, he's like a strong piece of steel, but he also looks. I mean, he's got some miles on him.
Yeah, I think he's more of a cyborg though. Like, I think he can really go back and get a new unit reconnected. Like, it's different. Don't mistaken him for a regular person, okay? Because he's not.
Are you going to watch live on December 11th?
I will be at Tyson's game, so I don't know. Do you know what time it
I have no idea. No.
Yeah, listen, I am so jealous of those two people. I have so much competitive hatred for both of them people. It just so happens that I have a lot more love and admiration for John Brzenk that I never creep to that level, right? The water level of admiration never gets below sea level where all the toxic stuff is. But make no mistake about it, with Devon Larratt, it remains at a very toxic level.
Meaning.
Yeah, I don't appreciate his followers. I don't like his numbers. I don't like the whole being the fucking face of arm wrestling. I don't. So that way people don't say, "Oh, Travis is a hater," or yes. Exactly what it is. So everything that I'm telling you is under that premise that I hate Devon Larratt and I love John Brzenk.
And that's that pretty much. And thanks for coming on, dude. Good luck with your business call. I hope you make $10 million this morning.